3, 2, 1, 0. 0. Pum, 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 pum. Laughing's good exercise too, I think.
Hey guys.
Hello.
I feel like I lost my voice a bit this weekend.
Me too.
But-
I was like, I did quite a bit of yelling.
See, yeah, exactly. My brother threw up. He was watching the King's Speech on the weekend.
Okay.
And the opening scene of that movie is a BBC radio announcer doing those voice exercises.
Oh, I think I remember
Is
that.
there something to that? I don't know. I didn't watch the movie with him. I just saw the start of it. Is there something to that? Should I be stretching my voice? Not
What,
like
what
a
do you mean? Is there
professional
something
or
to that?
anything.
Of course, yes. Of course, there is something to that.
Well, British people tend to do pretentious things.
no.
Doesn't seem.
I
you
mean,
know. Is it like slipping green tea with some whisper grass infusions? Is that, you know?
I don't think I
It's
don't.
kind of
I don't think British people drink a lot of green tea. I think their deal is like just
Is it
like the
orange
regular
pico?
like orange pico.
Orange pico.
Yeah.
You oxidize that.
Hey guys.
Hello.
So how do you mix the downforce? Oh, yeah, this is Flat
Oh
Out
yeah,
Fever
this is
podcast.
Flat Out Fever podcast. And before we get into
FlatOutFever.com, Twitter.
into
and
the
all that.
amazingness that was
YouTube,
this
hit
last
subscribe.
race that we just had a couple weekends ago, actually a couple episodes ago, when you weren't here.
Yeah.
Mike and I
happened?
talked about this, how it would be such a brilliant idea to mix.
How it might be such a brilliant idea.
It is such a brilliant idea to mix Heineken and Red Bull together, and we're calling it DOWNFORCE.
Downforce, right? All capitals.
And
Trademark.
and
All capitals. That's how you order it.
well, we see. Yeah.
You have to yell,
DOWNFORCE.
you have to yell it.
DOWNFORCE. So here it is. I think this is gonna be like the
It's a
first time that-
50-50, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm about to pour. Yeah, I'm not a professional bartender. or anything.
This is actually gonna be the first time that we all try it
You-
in its original recipe. So let's see how it goes.
You know, people get like snobs about coffee. You put the milk first, then the coffee, then the milk.
I think I put the Red Bull first. All right, you
Red
do
Bull
it.
first?
You do it a
Should I
different
do
way.
the opposite? And Mike, you want to do simultaneous? Or do you
What?
want to?
I did it already.
You okay?
Oh,
Okay, I'll do the simultaneous.
Okay.
I'll pour them both
Ooh.
equal rate, and I'll stop when it's full.
All right.
See, this doesn't allow for the glass to be tilted, and I got like 90% foam right now. This is a problem. Yeah, and I'm full. It's half foam.
So clearly
It's
the way to go is to pour them.
either one or the
Yeah.
other first. Okay.
This is good research that we're doing here.
Well, I mean, we're doing all the work for
The
them.
Yeah,
smell
exactly.
is powerful. It's powerful.
I mean, it smells fast.
It's a big.
This is if you were listening or watching last week, hopefully you're drinking along with us. We
Oh, we got to
Get-
cheers first.
Oh,
Guys.
yeah, cheers.
What are you
Cheers.
doing, man?
Oh,
your etiquette. Where
sorry.
is it?
I am the rudest person
Jesus.
in the world.
That's all right.
All right. That's interesting. I actually like that.
It's kind of like oddly
not bad.
refreshing.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Also, the whatever I've made has changed the aerodynamics of my cup,
Yeah.
and now the bottom has like a little belly on it.
Oh, nice. You know, for better downforce.
This is actually badass. I haven't seen this before. On the Heineken tall can,
Oh yeah, they have like one of those
The thermometer.
coldness indicators.
we are actually perfectly sitting at 4 degrees with
Oh
these
yeah,
cans.
and these
is
Red Bulls
amazing.
were in the
Red Bulls were
freezer.
in the freezer.
Actually,
This is how you mix
cheers
it down for us,
again,
people.
guys.
Heineken and Red Bull, the official
Yeah.
drink of Austrian Formula 1.
Yeah, this is or Formula One in general. Why not?
Well, Red Bull
this
ring.
is the
whatever,
proper
whatever.
way to
Whatever.
open up an F1
Yeah.
podcast. In case you guys didn't know,
My throat is.
it's right. Oh yeah, this
My
is
voice is opened up. I
feel very
amazing.
I feel very
Your vibe-
lubricated.
Your face, your complexion.
I feel
You
different.
look spectacular.
Thanks, man.
Drink. I mean, this is magic.
No, this is pretty good, and
It's actually not bad.
I
I'm
wanna
surprised.
I wanna offer another. Well, I wanna cheers for something else, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna move these cans a bit away from my laptop.
Sure, no problem.
So, like
I am
flailing
known-
your arms and stuff.
I do that. In fact, because we also over the weekend while we were off doing our own different thing for the Canada day long weekend, we also went over 200 subscribers on YouTube. On YouTube, and
1% over 202 guys. Man.
And we've also recently broken over 800 RSS subscribers to our podcast via our website. So that means in between iTunes and other audio podcast listeners, we have more than we've had before. And a substantial number, and I'd like to offer a toast for that. Come on, guys!
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thanks for hitting that button.
Yeah. Thanks for subscribing.
Cheers to analytics.
It really, I mean, it's
very analytical.
It's just something that it's a good way to show your support. If you like the show, hit subscribe. Yeah. But by the way, I guess somebody mentioned that we also haven't been doing this for all of us, new listeners that we've been getting. If you didn't know, my name is Javier. I also go by Jay.
Yeah, Danny here. Daniel on my plastic IDs.
No one calls you that.
Danny usually, yeah.
And I'm Mike.
My nephew calls me Uncle Danny sometimes. Uncle Daniel sometimes. He's the only one though. He's 5. So.
But yeah, again, thank you everyone. We started this about a year ago, and we've
year and a half ago
ish, and it's sort of taken off, and it's been really great.
It's been a great
as a
ride.
hobby at least.
Yeah.
Let's not get too grandiose.
No.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a great ride, and honestly, we appreciate all of your comments, everybody, and we appreciate that you appreciate the show. And as far as you guys are out there, and if you like it, and if you keep clicking subscribe, we'll know that you guys are out there listening, and we'll keep putting content out. We have some great ideas for the future. And look out for an announcement from us later this week.
We'll be publishing a book of cocktails.
Yes.
Look for that around the Christmas season.
But seriously, cheers and thank you all very much.
This is actually
you guys. This
good.
is pretty fucking delicious.
This is actually all right.
I'm all right with this.
I do love beer. Heineken's pretty good, but Red Bull by itself, once in a while, together, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we have a Martin Bergner from Germany says hi.
Okay.
As well, but I wanted to ask him. I believe that there's something in Germany where people mix cola and beer together. But we've forgotten the name. Do you remember that at all?
I have not.
Like it's mostly for kids. But Martin, if you know the term for it, can you let us know in the comment? Because that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think you've been wondering about that for a while.
Yeah, I know because I've had it before.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, Austrian Grand Prix.
Austria.
What? Okay. Remember when we were talking about Baku in a couple podcasts ago?
A couple podcasts, Baku.
Yeah. and I said something to the tune that, maybe when Austria comes around, like, we'll know whether or not this season it has just been great because it's been great and Baku is the only outlier.
It's more than a third grade now. At least.
Or is it gonna be or did we spend all the awesomeness in the first 7 races? But no, that was yet again another fantastic race.
Mm-hmm.
Like
something to compare those two races, going from like one of the longest to one of the shortest circuit.
Yeah,
there's a noticeable difference in congestion. I think Brundle said that it looked like there were 30 cars out there. That's true. There was parts when the Baku Grand Prix where they're showing on TV one car, and as far as the camera followed him across a corner or whatever, you couldn't see another car all the way back and all the way ahead.
Yeah.
Some guys were driving alone just by, what I mean? It was a lonely race for a few cars, except for, pitting and stuff. But compared to Austria, it's nothing but lapping. You're running into each other. Everyone pitted twice.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's something I didn't catch last year's Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But that was something really interesting that I noticed when I was watching. I was like, it always seemed filled up. It always seemed like there was action. Even if it was someone being lapped, it was still important because the track is so much smaller.
Smooth circuit, there's only a handful of corners. It's crazy. Coming from 22 or whatever at Baku is insane.
And now we're talking about the track being filled up.
Right.
The stands?
The stands?
Did you guys notice the stands?
That was very similar to Baku.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The weather wasn't great, but I don't know if that really was the whole reason.
Are you kidding me? That made qualifying awesome.
Well, yeah, as far as the racing, but I'm talking about attendance.
Oh.
Attendance?
No. I remember, like, we're kind of talking about, we talked about this
weather is always
with
like
Michael
that.
Schmidt, not you, the other one.
I figured as much.
That he was saying that it was it's looking like it's gonna be like a steady decline. I tend to say I hope it doesn't, because
in Austria specifically.
Yeah, they have a great circuit, and especially if they're thinking of doing all that work in it.
They have to, if they rebuild the West Loop.
Oh, Mike, it's known as a diesel.
A diesel.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
very much.
Beer and Coke. Thanks,
Now you know. Yeah, if they do, as obviously they're going to, have that restored and get the Grade 1 certification as they're aiming for, as they're building it to comply to, and they don't race F1 there, and they only do like MotoGP or WEC or whatever, anything else, nobody's gonna show up.
It's true.
So they will finish building it, and they will use it. And people will come because of that. I think that's
but they want to. Okay, so I don't know the latest, like whether it went one way or the other, but I think they were hinting at the beginning that it was, at least as far as the broadcasters were talking about, and like the TED or whatever was talking about, it was supposed to be for endurance, the longer loop.
Yeah, no.
They're gonna do it for endurance, but towards the end of the weekend, like the conversation started being like, hey, like no, for sure, this work is happening, and it's happening for F1 too.
See, somebody slipped it at the circuit, but for sure they're gonna keep that a secret and announce, when the calendar comes official next year, that they're gonna race on it.
Yeah.
But you would think, like, obviously for endurance, and one of the articles I read mentioned for MotoGP as well, but who knows about that.
Well, MotoGP is also growing in popularity a lot.
Yeah, it is. So, all racing is a lot.
Yeah.
Le Mans, but like
it's because it's
like new, like I don't know.
It's being set free.
Yeah, like I guess so. MotoGP, like a couple races back. Like again, I've never watched a full race, but I saw a couple of races back. They started adding aero to it.
Oh, so like little wing elements here and there.
Yeah, little winglets on the front and back. So yeah, that's evolving quick as well. And we talked about before the show, somebody on a street legal bike. We were trying to see if MotoGP or F1 was faster, but F1 has the edge still. Mm-hmm. So it was Bottas hit 378 on the front straight at Baku. Terrifying. But somebody just hit 400 this week on a street legal motorcycle somewhere. 400 kilometers an hour.
Where would you be able to do that?
A 737 takes off at less than 400 kilometers an hour. It's insane, man. It's a man on a steel horse in the open.
Yeah. No.
I would shit my pants. It's terrifying. Awesome, though. I love it.
It's long may continue for sure. But
racing, man.
Going back to your point, Mike, that the shorter track, definitely, like it did look like
so
more
cool.
like so bunched up, and maybe that's something that you lose when you have like the really really long laps. There's got to be
71 or 72 laps was this race. 71 I think. And another cool thing is that they have most of, except for where the West Loop goes for next year, but most of the center of the track is almost zero trees. So that chopper could pull back and you could see the entire circuit at points, or 90% of it. Yeah, almost the whole. It's only 79 corners there.
9.
Yeah, 9 real ones. But
7 real. And
7 where they're like 2 of them are just kind of like just kind of like touch the wheel, but
very cool. And this is exactly
different. It's something different.
Mike, before
people didn't show up
last week when we were talking about how we were looking forward to a race there in this circuit because it was going to be faster, because it was going to be a lot more flowy, whatever that means, right? It's hard. It's hard to define, like as an outsider, like what that means. But
exactly.
But couldn't you like almost see that, like the way that the guys were driving, like it just
absolutely
it seemed flowy.
Like I mean, I think the comparison between Baku and the Austrian circuit, the Red Bull circuit, there was like that contrast really allows you to sort of see that difference, right? Where Baku has like these very gotta turn.
Yeah, and stop and go. Stop.
Where the handful of the 90 degrees.
Yeah, but the isn't the first turn almost 90 degrees in the Austrian?
Yeah,
but even then,
the only real breaking point.
Yeah, but
and
even
the third corner.
Even then, that was still.
But it still worked, right?
Yeah.
But it all sort of flows into each other, like almost like a river would.
Yeah.
You know, which I thought it was very very cool.
It's a different style of track. You just you gotta keep flow to keep your average speed high because it's so short and so smooth there.
Now, how did because I didn't catch up. I'm not sure if you guys did. You guys check out qualifying or practice?
I saw
no practices.
Most of the practices and qualifying.
Like I said, I was up at a cottage No internet, no TV, no satellite, no nothing.
Now,
One radio station.
How did that set up for the grid in the actual
It's
race?
very interesting. Let me tell you.
Qualifying was great. The only thing I saw from practice was all the highlights.
Oh, let me tell you about practicing.
you got to watch them all?
Yeah, no, not all of them. I skipped Q3.
See, Rosberg's suspension explosion.
Yeah, I was Saturday. I was at a wedding that day. But for the first two practices though, I did notice that it was very, very interesting because the way that the Sky team, I guess, put it is because it's such a short lap and that compounded with the fact that there's so few turns. Because Monaco's is also a short track, but it's got many turns. No,
more turns, yeah.
It's not a lot of turns, very short track. It is then a track that kind of encourages you to really, really hone like your approach to like the limit of how to approach the apex.
Fast as you can get in and out. Yeah.
As fast as you can go. Like that's where you can.
Because you only have
edge.
7 real chances, 9 full chances, but 7
to make
real
a difference.
chances to make your where your time is made up and lost.
Yeah,
mostly in the corners
and
getting in and getting out.
And your talent then at that point, like then that's you can only really show it. Yeah, a couple times, and really like try to push, try to get as much. Like to shorten the track as much as you can, try to really explore the limit. And now, I guess because they saw too many people having like issues where they were basically like running off the track because that was what was producing a better lap time.
Right.
And there was no easy way to like police that last year. What they did is at around some turns,
I love it.
They put some of the best features. It's hard. It's so refreshing when a new like piece of regulation or something is introduced into F1 and it actually works and it's good.
See, at the start of this year, I was excited. We talked about this, that they were going to enforce the track limits this season. And they haven't stuck to that. It's better than last year, the enforcement level, but it's not what they promised. People have gotten away with laps where they went off in the race and qualifying. There's been a few penalties and stuff, but it's baguettes, man. You're getting that.
The baguettes, big fan of the baguettes.
Put them in more tracks. A couple of the drivers, mostly the ones that were affected by them.
Yeah,
Verstappen. I mean, Kvyat.
Verstappen too.
It's so dangerous. You see, you know what we're talking about?
No.
Okay. Actually, this right here is a very good model of a baguette.
Google. Keep talking, and I'll find a link and send it to you.
The Red Bull Ring baguettes. They look like this. For anyone that's watching, it looks like this oven mitt from this side. It's about the same shape and size, I would say, huh? You think so? It's almost perfect. It's almost perfect and color. That's why they call them baguettes. It looks like a French roll, like a piece of bread. And what they do is
it this?
Those guys.
These guys?
So that's a perfect picture. Pull up the full screen. This kind of looks like a baguette.
Yeah.
So what you got is on the inside.
If you can.
Yeah. Go to view image there. Pull up the.
Or no, go to visit page.
Yeah.
Because the view image is like pretty small.
Zoom in. So the red and yellow is the type of curb that you get.
You mean red and white?
Red on the outside, on the track side. The inside of the circuit.
First let's be clear about something like from the get-go. Block part here. This is a track. Drivers are instructed to stay within it. White line.
One wheel has to be inside that white line.
Yeah, all four tires beyond this white line. That is exceeding track limits.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. That's what it is. Now
the opposite. If you're in that gravel. You were definitely off the track over there. Those are the two extremes.
Well, for sure. But
right.
What's been happening is that around certain corners, drivers like come out, and as long as they don't leave, at least as long as a part of one tire is touching still the track, that's still allowed. Technically, you're still within it. And you can do that. If you want to do that, that's fine, and you can shorten your lap and you can make your lap quicker that way. But what's not allowed is sticking all the way out here. But before they put those like yellow things, the baguettes, there was no clear way to like say like, okay, like, you know, don't go out there, because then the gray area of like whether or not like the driver had just gone out because they lost a little bit of control, or like they didn't calculate it right, or did they actually mean to take that line all the way outside, was kind of blurry. And now with this, it just forces him to stick with it.
Without that, what they actually promised was the full enforcement is actually, I think, technically basically impossible to enforce, because 22 cars, 3 rounds of qualifying, a lot of laps.
Yeah.
Nobody can watch the full lap of every car in all of qualifying and see if they kept inside the track. You see a lot of it and whatever. There's only so many flying laps. But anyways, the white and red on the inside, right outside the white line, is what you see on every track. It's got a little serration. They're like 1 or 2 centimeters high, and you just feel like
actually 2.5 centimeters.
2.5.
As per regulation, the black and white are 2.5.
So you feel like a little bzz in the steering wheel. You know you're on the track, and the second level there.
This guy here.
Those are bigger. Those are they
5
didn't really
centimeters.
They did not get talked about very much this weekend, but that's basically like a second warning before you hit those baguettes.
Okay.
And when you hit those baguettes, like the track microphones were picking up like like the cars were shaking themselves apart. Like we get pulled off YouTube.
Suspensions were getting broken.
We get pulled off YouTube, unfortunately, for showing any FOM footage. But if you were watching the race this weekend, you saw that the cars, the quali, because on the race nobody touched that, right? You know what I'm saying? It was interesting. They talked to Perez after his suspension exploded, and they're like, oh, what happened? Like, cars' suspensions through practice and qualifying, because you didn't watch it,
right?
They were exploding. They were failing. The push rods, the arms, whatever, everything was breaking. They were going to failure. Because when you design that suspension, you don't go like so strong it never breaks. You go just strong enough that hopefully it won't break, because you want your car to be as light as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And these baguettes have never been encountered before in F1. And so many cars failed. There were some spectacular crashes. So and I love it. So many drivers, they hate it though. Like, this is dangerous.
I know that from looking at pictures like this though, it's kind of hard to tell, like to get a sense of this scale.
Right.
But basically an F1 car can and will fit very comfortably in between these,
this and then this side.
No, in between
any two of those.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an F1. Yeah, so they're that big, right? Like they look small, but an F1 car
the width
will fit the width of it. So
assume about 60 centimeters per line, because the car is 1.8 meters.
One of the main arguments was that this is not safe. This is not safe. These baguettes are not safe. No. That is not true, because what's not safe is, or what technically is not allowed, is stepping off the side of the track. And this right here, even if the point that Johnny Herbert was making is that if instead of having these baguettes here, you just had a wall like you do in like Monaco and whatever, that like you for fucking sure would not step outside those limits, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you're like right here, like, you know, trying to do something cool and, like, you know, explore the track limits and still like keep like a little bit of your rubber in the track, but still like manage to get away with that.
Right.
You're still within these two. You're not even close.
Yeah.
It's only when you try to purposely leave the track that you encounter this situation.
Right. And it's not like these are,
or if you're having an accident. Obviously, yes, you can always rule that. Like, you can't rule it out.
right, but they're not like constant like
Nope.
these other parts, right? It's only in very select
You'll
parts.
see there's 1 or 2 parts on this circuit where they have 2 and 3 just on a part where cars touch off the edge, and where they try to push. I want to apologize for burping into the mic. That was very, very disgusting. But
Jamie Lopez just says just like the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, the Wall of Champions or Baku. Like but the thing is, no drivers are crying about walls except for Jenson Button.
Yeah.
Nobody's crying about walls. That's a different type of racing.
Right. Well, didn't Verstappen go into the wall in
Of
Monaco.
Monaco, he crashed, I think, 3
And
times.
he went into the Wall of Champions too.
And
Oh,
it's
did he?
and in the opening credits of Sky F1, they show his crash from last year where he went head first into the wall of Monaco like around 250 kilometers an hour.
And
Yeah.
I thought he was dead.
Max Verstappen was also like you mentioned earlier, the one of the guys that was complaining about these baguettes the most. And I have kind of noticed that
Kvyat was pissed. He has an attitude.
Well, I was kind of, and I kind of have noticed a trend in this when it comes to Max. It seems like
18-year-old Max Verstappen.
18-year-old Max
Please say his
Verstappen.
full name.
That he tends to like really push the limit during the practice sessions. P1 and P2, we've seen him like maybe like
They got
make a few mistakes here and there, you know, like
He knows they have the whole night to fix the car if he crashes it.
yeah, or something like that. But he's kind of been consistent this year at doing that. I remember like the
He knows
same
they
thing.
love him
Same
too.
thing in actually in Spain was a key one because I clearly remember that he kept going off. He kept spinning around. You know the I think that's I saw a meme around that time for a spinning. But then he went and won the race, right? I think that and
He won driver of the day for the race this weekend.
yeah, well, to me that should have been Verlaine. But anyway,
Yeah, Verlaine killed it.
that is a sort of a behavior or a trait in a driver
Right.
that I remember noticing before. And like, I hate to make these kind of comparisons, but that is something that I remember like actually talking to you about like back in the day, back in the years, and that is Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull years. He was kind of doing the same thing. So I don't know if it's like a mark of that kind of a driver,
Right.
or something to do with the way that Red Bull like gives him the instructions. But that is like I remember noticing that too. Like Vettel during practices and some races, like you got like such an impression that like, oh, like maybe Red Bull like this is gonna be the one race when they're not gonna win, because back then they were like Mercedes winning everything. It's gonna be not the one race where Vettel's not gonna win because he went into the barrier a couple times, but then he'd go and kill it in the race.
Right.
Like maybe like yeah,
It's part of the whole 10,000 hours
yeah, I guess so.
mastery.
Yeah.
Mastery of racing.
Keep pushing
Vettel's-
the limit.
Vettel's graduated at 10,000 hours.
Pushing the limit until you know where the limit is, and then you just don't do that later.
Yeah.
I remember from years past, right, too? Like,
Yeah.
some of these courses, I think, well, aside from last year, it's Verstappen's new to them. Never driven them ever.
That's true.
Whereas Vettel's now, into like 6, 7, and 8 years, whatever, on some of them. Then, and raced them in other series. That's where I'm included. But something about these baguettes, Perez, because, he's been talked about quite a bit recently. They asked him, what happened, man? You went over the baguettes, crash, whatever. He's like, we need the FIA to put out a decree that you can't go off the track here, that we can't go off the track on this circuit, because, even if you tell us, we're not going to listen.
So
no
decree.
All right, so
There's
crash
the
it,
baguettes.
pretend it's a wall or whatever, or don't, and fuck up your car.
Yeah.
Or hit the wall, like a wall is,
This is.
they're
I
easy to see. That's as
like
easy
this
to, your eye
solution.
catches that like a wall.
I like
love
this
it.
solution
I love
because it's simple and elegant, and I think that is it's so unexpected, because everything that it seems that FOM and FIA, when they get together to try to fix the sport, they come up with such cumbersome ways to do it.
Sometimes, yeah.
But this is it's simple.
That puts a frequency of vibration through the car that they're not designed to take. Yeah.
It's it doesn't take like building a wall or whatever. It's cheap. It's simple. It worked. It was wrecking cars and it was destroying. It was hurting them, because because even the constructors themselves, and you bet your top dollar that even when the track limits thing was the directive was out there that they should not exceed track limits, like you probably like some race engineers would have been like, yo, don't worry about what that guy said. They're not gonna be tracking that.
Who was having problems with vibration they retired.
Hulkenberg.
Yeah, it was Hulkenberg, right?
Towards the last third of the race, they played a radio clip of him going, I don't know, he was something like, "Guys, I'm thinking of bailing out. There's too much vibration." He's just getting like shaken to bits. He was like his own.
That was the best manual sound effect I've ever heard.
So this picture here is Mercedes took some action to strengthen their suspension. They shrink wrapped some space age black tape around their.
I was gonna call it Play-Doh or something like
no,
that.
that looks like over chewed gum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to do stuff like this?
You can do whatever you want as long as the car weighs a certain amount. You can build it out of more or less anything.
Yeah,
I think you can use it. And
well,
it's probably some kind of epoxy or some kind of resin that they used on it. Well, more or less, but yeah, you can definitely do that. The car weighs the minimum, and whatever. There's certain parts of the car have minimum stresses that they need to take
also,
without bending.
Here's what
minimum strengths for stuff, but there's no maximum. You
now
can make stuff as strong as you want.
Here's what they would have done this to, Mike, because you know how we always say that, keeping these guys, they build like enough spare parts to like completely rebuild a whole different car or whatever. It would have been a matter of time, like. When you start messing around with like especially the rear suspension, which is where this was, you're talking about a lot of man hours. That
when
at
you
one
break
point,
it,
at one point somebody like would have like sent the numbers back to either Brackley or Stuttgart and had an engineer calculate like, or maybe one of them even like at the track, like they would have been like, all right, like. What's the cost benefit of like actually spending like the number of hours and mechanics like tying them out for a couple hours to like change the whole back suspension or whatever, the whole rear suspension, or can just putting this epoxy or whatever it is not gonna make it strong enough? And they probably like run the numbers and it turned out that it was.
I think we're talking about Rosberg when he's broke.
No. This is a reinforcement.
That's not. I just want to clarify. They didn't fix Rosberg.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, I think most or all of the teams have their rear suspension is mounted to the transmission, like structurally.
Oh, wow.
Like as part of like,
so
and the transmission. Up. Yeah, the way that like they have the chassis and then the engine and transmission is bolted to the chassis that it becomes part of the structure.
Okay.
And then I think that's the push rod on the back. It's really hard to tell because it's super zoomed in.
No, that's not the push rod.
The top or part of the A-arm.
It's part of the wishbone.
Most of that back suspension though is mounted through to the transmission. So when you break it, if it breaks a certain way, you might have to change the transmission or take the whole back apart and
the gearbox.
Like
it's not uncommon that when some drivers like bang their back wheels against walls or whatever in a bad way, sometimes they have to change the whole
transmission case.
Yeah,
you have to change.
Yeah, this actually like is something that like most F1 or most like modern sports cars are built like on this same idea, like the monocoque, where like certain bits of it are actually like attached like directly into like
a lot of supercars, like road legal supercars. Are built like
especially
this,
track cars, like whatever.
McLarens and stuff. Like if you crash a fucking McLaren, most likely if you crash it pretty good, it's garbage. Like look at we talk about Mr. Bean's McLaren F1.
Yeah.
For listeners, if you haven't seen it, check it out. He's garbage because.
Yeah, they had to like completely rebuild it like piece by piece or like completely like
the way that those cars are built and certain other supercars that you buy from other manufacturers are built like that. Like you said, the monocoque.
The monocoque. And that is something that like
I got one of those.
That's something that was like specifically like it was developed in F1.
Name.
Wow.
They thought about that name.
Yeah.
They saved it up for years. They used it. Well, what we were saying about Hulkenberg's vibration, that he
but that was due to degradation.
He didn't know what it was or whatever. He asked that he wanted to bail out of the race and quit.
Yeah.
And he ended up pitting and they changed the tires. So I guess it wasn't something deadly. But I wonder sometimes because you hear Brundle, but I haven't heard any like stories or legends. Like you've heard Brundle saying like when you see the camera sometimes is shaking to hell because someone flat spotted their tires. He's like, that's your eyes looks worse than that. Like, how can the human body, like, how much of that can your body take? Like, the way your lungs
jerk?
Because you're strapped in tight. Like, they, like tighten those seatbelts.
Yeah.
So you're tight in the. You become like the transmission. You're part of the monocoque. You're strapped in that. When you're strapped in that tight. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be like
maybe
some.
Maybe they
pain.
Or
I've never heard a story about
or maybe like that's just part of like your growing up and advancing through the seasons. Like maybe like just like
you're just
like
all your the shit that holds your lungs to your.
Yeah, it starts to grow like internal calluses or something. Like
I guess your eye sockets and whatever. Yeah,
maybe that's why Rosberg guy is so fucked up.
If I ever meet Brundle or listeners, if you meet Brundle, ask him, man. Because I've never heard a legend. I've been waiting for a story. No driver's ever said like you shook so bad I couldn't see for 2 days. Or, I've never heard that. I don't know if that's possible. I'm not a biologist.
Talking still about Hülkenberg, I think like he's it was kind of sad to watch because. At least for me, because I think that he is, as much as he bitches and complains sometime over the radio, he's still like a pretty decent driver, and it's just kind of unfortunate that he's sort of stuck in a position where he's pretty much gonna, I don't know, like it's. If you told me that he's gonna finish his career in Force India, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that happening, right? But he was in such a good position, starting all the way up in the grid, and just through. Like just racing stuff, he finished like way down low and wasn't really able to recuperate in his car. They just didn't have Hülkenberg, Nico Nico Hülkenberg, and then he had to he was even asking to retire. Like who knows how much of that was like from him actually starting from up top and then like seeing his position and the fact that he couldn't recuperate that.
It's a racing syndrome. He's got platinum pressure.
Yeah,
that license, the platinum license in his back pocket. It's so heavy. It's just weighing down his whole career. Can't live up to it.
It's too bad, and we know that Checo Perez has been getting a lot of the headlines in that team recently. And it's sad to see him in that position anyway.
See, Perez, like I said, he's been talked about a lot in the last weeks, even since just before Canada. Yeah. Remember his dad said he had some big announcement, which never came. I think he was like, Dad, shut up. Don't tell people my secret. And then he just kind of like, he has to wait a couple weeks. But there's some headlines this morning that he's definitely got his eyes set on that 2017 Ferrari seat. And he's trying to... He said that, though. Like, nobody said that they've got their eyes on him. Mm-hmm. He said he's got his eyes on it. It's a big difference, right? So who knows? And, well, he's been part of the Ferrari Drivers Academy back in the day. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot more mature these days. His backers definitely got more millions than he did back then.
Yeah.
Mr. Slim.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens.
It's interesting. It's interesting with Perez.
Yeah, I'd still like to think that
he sounded stupid about that curbs thing, though.
Yeah,
it sounded pretty dumb.
What did he say?
That if they told, unless the FIA made a directive that said at Austrian circuit you cannot go over the line or touch the baguettes,
or no one's gonna listen. I think what he was basically saying is like that you know what, enforce it. They want enforce it, or else we'll keep
or else we're not gonna listen.
Yeah.
They wanted them to decree it that you cannot go over here. Come on, that's dumb. George Lucas was there. That's all I have to say about that. He was there.
Maybe he was getting ideas for another pod racing.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. He had a couple of sound recorders in his pockets.
Yeah. Sorry, we had to drop frames for a bit.
Sorry, what?
Drop frames on our stream.
Oh yes. Sorry if you're experiencing a little technical difficulty. Sorry, I think we're back in our stream health is green, and that means go usually.
I don't know. Basically, they shouldn't. For my conclusion, they should install the baguettes anywhere possible in the whole F1 circuit. The season of tracks.
They worked. Whoever's saying that they don't work is an idiot.
Yeah, the FIA said this morning, there's quotes, they will not remove them from there. And hopefully they'll escalate that to installing them everywhere else.
Cool.
They're not too dangerous, obviously.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. And all the suspension failures, it's like you would have worse effect if you hit a wall. Instead of that, you get a few chances with those baguettes. You can go over 2 or 3 times probably before your suspension's going to fail at the circuit. Like all the way from Rosberg down, like 5 or 6 or 7, 1 or 2 big ones. It was awesome.
No, it was sweet. We were just talking about like how the practice went and whatever, and like and there was a bit of
the
weather.
penalties too.
What? Which one?
So many penalties. Two
there
people
was a
started
bunch.
from the pits.
Oh yeah,
Vettel took 5 spots
for a gearbox change.
for the gearbox. That was interesting. The empty spot
Yeah.
where Verlaine actually accidentally moved up and reversed on the grid. There is no rule in the Formula One book. Wait for it. It's coming. About reversing on the grid.
Oh, fuck
Anthony
yeah,
Davidson
I bet
said, they looked hard through the whole thing. They had to do some research. The officials they didn't even know because nobody's ever done that before.
The Sky Boys, as I like
The
to call them.
Sky Boys.
They were like, "Oh my god, he's backing up!
Yeah.
I can't believe this! My word!" they were so shocked. It was like, "I can't believe he's actually backing up."
This season, I think, is going to break
Good
the
for him.
record.
And they
for
actually
the most
no, and they
penalties
actually
in a
called
season.
it. They were like they said, "Oh, he's gonna get a penalty for sure," and he didn't.
He would have got one if he didn't reverse.
Yeah,
Because he started 2 spots ahead of. He would have started 2 spots ahead of where he should. But it's pretty rare to see, and I was just about to say, I think this season's going to break the record for maybe the most penalties in a season.
Wow.
You rarely see that empty spot. So
you
penalties after qualifying because
Yeah.
you can't. Nobody gets to move up a spot just because somebody else fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, 2 starts from the pits. Hamilton's gonna get 1 or 2, and a couple other drivers are gonna get
Right,
1 or 2
yeah. That's sort of got
starts
buried
for
like
engines.
down in like all the other news of the weekend. But yeah, let's not forget that Hamilton is running out of parts for his engines, and we're not even halfway through this season.
So what do you mean by that? He's running out of parts. Like so many
Take it-
allotted.
He ran
Take it
another
away.
new engine for this weekend because apparently after Baku something went wrong with Hamilton's engine. They started another one.
Yeah, but now
I think he's on number 4.
hang on though, because it's not as it's
Is
actually
he
not
on
as
his fifth?
simple as
Is he
that.
on his fifth?
No, but it's also not as simple as that because
Of course not. Nothing is.
they're only allowed to use like 4 of like each one of like many things that are,
Right,
like,
okay.
that compose like the power unit or and
5
the,
engines for this year.
or yeah,
Just 21 races.
right, 21 races, right.
Yeah, 1 extra engine.
Five engines and whatever, like, but if you when you break it down to like what makes up like the power unit, you treat the different, or at least the bigger parts individually. So if you replace the generating unit, kinetic or whatever,
MGUK,
that counts.
Engine, transmission.
You don't have to replace it all at the same time. So each part used is counted differently. Okay. But once it go over 5 in each one of those, or in either of those, you get a penalty. And the penalties are severe.
Really?
They're like 5-place grid penalties. It fucks you over like big time.
But also if you're like a bigger team like Mercedes or Ferrari, it's a little bit less, maybe even Red Bull, it's a little bit less of a penalty.
Right.
Because they're obviously, they have well-constructed cars in general.
True.
Right?
Yeah, they'll be able to like recover it. And it produces a great situations where you see like good drivers out of position with a fast car trying to like make their way up the grid. Oh, it's fantastic. I think it's great. And I think it's it definitely adds like a bit to that strategy of the sport and
a little bit of stress too, I imagine.
Yeah, and it puts pressure on the engine manufacturers to like build a reliable product, right? Like that's what you want as well. You want
that's the whole point. Yeah.
You want to save money by encouraging that, by encouraging these wonderful engines that they have to also be good for more than one race.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
For like a zoomed out comparison, last year there were 5 engines allowed.
Okay.
For the 20 races. This year, the idea was to have 1 less engine allowed for 20 races, but the season's 21 races. So it ended up being 5 engines. So we talked at the start of the season, 1 or 2 races might not have happened. Monza almost didn't happen. America almost didn't happen. But both of those are basically guaranteed to happen now, unless something stupid happens. But so there's going to be 5 engines again this year. It's a saving grace for some teams, but for 1 extra race than last year.
Right. So okay. So there's still.
It's very close still, but the idea was to have 1 less, and I think next year they're gonna probably have 4 engines for 21 races. But according to Bernie Ecclestone, there's only gonna be maybe 18 races next year.
Yeah.
With his fist.
Yeah, his
There's gonna be at least 20.
No, yeah. It's obviously more.
So are we gonna get into like sort of the hot topics of this last race and sort of what happened?
Yes, let's.
Vettel's birthday?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 3rd. That was his birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Obviously.
I had a theory.
Yes.
And I almost wish it was true. I know it's not, but
Is this as good as the Pirelli theory?
no.
That
maybe.
was a good
I
theory
don't know.
last week.
But the idea was that like maybe someone like in the FIA when they're going around the grid and making sure like everyone's got like the right tires and everything, they just like to have like a little pin and they just like
Random
like,
pinholes?
just random, just make things interesting. Right? Because like we were talking about this tire thing, right? With the ultra softs are lasting ultra long.
Yeah.
And no one really sort of expected it, and now they're like, no, put me on those. And then what was Vettel driving? The super softs?
Retired 3-wheeled car? That was a nice birthday present for him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he started on the super softs because they were gonna like.
And those were from qualifying, right?
Well, yeah, it would have had to be, yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, for the Q2.
And they just popped, or one just popped, right? That was sort of the idea. There's
Turned
no
into some
real explanation.
Pirelli spaghetti.
Pirelli spaghetti.
Yeah, I'll pull up that picture because that was
Yeah, throw that up.
the Pirelli spaghetti.
And then Rosberg drove around with it all over his face. Like it was like he crashed his car, whatever, in practice. They got it in FP3. They got it together for quali, everything. He's looking nice with his He's like having a brand new white shirt on. Then he got pasta all down the front of it.
Yeah.
Dragged it around for the whole evening. So embarrassing.
That's a right react.
Look at that, man.
Image courtesy. Actually, for our audio listeners, we are showing a picture right now of Sebastian Vettel's destroyed tire, and there's like all kinds of stringy shit coming out of it.
What is that on the actual magnesium, on the metal inside, the brown liquid there? What is that?
Who knows?
You know what I mean? Inside some kind of oil, some kind of secret heat transfer shit for the pressure wars.
But look, this is the inside of the rim, and that doesn't look too intimidating like what we were thinking. They don't have any crazy shit going on, and that's what they were saying that like
that was what 29 laps they were saying on the commentary, 28 or 29 lap old tires.
Oh,
he must have hit something, right?
But
somehow he got a small puncture, or there was a bad tire.
So here's the latest. Yeah, it could everything. I mean, or at least what Ferrari is saying is that according to their metrics, everything was like the tires were well within their range.
Nominal, right?
And as far as their telemetry showed. Sebastian Vettel, like with those tires, he hadn't like stepped outside into the curbs too much. Like they were well within their working range, and this is something that shouldn't have happened. Now, whenever it's something like this, the Pirelli work with the teams to try to figure out why this would have happened. I mean, it's these tires though, like they're so the level of like actual like manual work that actually takes to make each one of these tires is way more than you would think. They're not by any means like in a big like production factory. It's a very manual process or as manual as you way more manual than you would expect.
We've mentioned a few times from when Pirelli took over. There's a great mini tour of the process, I guess, on YouTube that you can find. It's from the first year of Pirelli, but yeah. It's worth taking a look at. They're handmade. They're bespoke. It's like a baguette.
Yeah. So it could just be like that. This was a
one bad tire, right?
One bad tire.
One bad tire.
But Pirelli,
which wouldn't be bad, right?
Well, I mean, it's right.
Pretty high.
It's
99.999% of tires.
Yeah.
They go through.
But so Pirelli tries when they get something like this, when something like this happens, they work together with the team to try and get as much of relevant telemetry, so they can see what might have happened.
They're probably gonna watch the video frame by frame, right?
No, and they apparently also take this whatever's left or whatever that they can recover.
Throw on a play with pasta sauce.
Try to they try to like rebuild the tire.
Oh wow!
And they
reweave the fibers, and
they take it to a lab and like try to do like as much reconstructing or deconstructing of what happened just to find out like how could they make this not happen again.
Space program.
Trying to make a Frankenstein wheel, putting it back together.
They'll weave it all back together and then give it to Crash Store to test out this new tire. We're gonna maybe introduce to F1. Give it to him. Yeah, I think they take probably the race video from the accident and go as much Vettel footage as they can pull up frame by frame even. It could be anything though, right? It could be a fail tire. It could be he hit a sharp pebble. He hit a little piece of plastic from one of the other series that raced. Yeah. Missed it by the sweeping. Who knows? Hopefully we'll find out. Because he's had two of those now. Remember Spa? The same thing.
That's true. Hey, actually, so you know how this was like down the main straight, that this happened like almost right around the start-finish straight?
Just past the checkered flag line.
Yeah, when the tire blew up, apparently some of like the rubber actually went
over the bridge,
way over the bridge. Like,
you can see it in the replay, man.
Yeah, you can see it in the replay, like frame by frame.
Shit.
Like
15 meters in the air.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was like that violent.
Like that house that exploded in Mississauga.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And something else cool. I don't know if either of you guys or anyone listening saw that Jay Leno's garage clip from last week. This guy that you've seen, those drag racing cars that they have so much horsepower they go and they go back on two wheels, like those 70s muscle cars. So this old dude, he's like 84 years old or something. He had the first one in the 50s. It's some kind of Chevy, whatever. He has a 2500 horsepower version with the wheelie bar on it. And he took Jay Leno for a ride. He's 80.
Oh, I saw that.
Jay Leno's like, he got millions of views. Jay Leno's almost 70. So they go for a ride. The dude flipped it and destroyed his car doing this for television.
For YouTube, actually.
No, this was for
this is on the HBO one?
He has an NBC version.
Oh, NBC, right.
He weekly he does his own shit on YouTube, but he also has some NBC. It's almost like a reality show, but he goes and visits these guys about the cars. That and Vettel, when you crash, you take your hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
Vettel did that. You see in the slow motion, and Leno did the same thing. You pull your arms in, and you see Vettel, like, as he's about to crash, he like presses one or two buttons, then took his arms off the wheel and crossed his arms. Because, you don't want to break your thumbs or whatever, right?
Yeah. No. But then he also reversed. Did anything come of that? Like, he almost... who almost hit him?
So I think he probably hit... that the commentary missed the neutral button. That's what they have, a big neutral button right where your thumb is. I think it's in case you crash.
Okay.
Because you don't want to be in gear and then spin around going 100 kilometers an hour. Just wreck the transmission, right?
Right.
So spin the engine backwards.
Right.
Or wreck your clutch or whatever. Whatever it gives. But I think he probably hit the neutral button.
No, I think that like you said, like he did it probably because you had to do that, or like they probably told him like
ingrain that in your brain.
Yeah.
When you crash, hit neutral.
Hit neutral.
Crash, yeah. Same if you have like a 5-speed car, like
hit
it, pull it out of gear, or whatever. I don't know. Nice birthday present, anyway.
Yeah.
So many crashes this weekend. So many solo crashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the start. Amazing start again.
That was
so many
really okay. Honestly,
nobody touched, man.
Yeah, that was
that's unheard of almost.
It goes to show like how, I mean, and I think we've said this before. I've said this before, and this is just another like thing that it really does go to show you like this is why people watch F1, because these guys
getting yelled at works.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to do a bad start and get yelled at.
It's different than any of the other categories that feed into F1, because those are all professional, seasoned guys that are professional in their driving and they know what they're doing. So they know like just how to push. And some of those guys got really close.
There's a few puffs of smoke too.
Yeah,
some did touch, but
they managed to like keep it together. So that was well done for all the drivers not to crash down that first corner, because it could have very easily happened. Yeah. Not even not even like the ones that I would have considered like to be kind of weak drivers did anything anything less than professional really around that first corner. Very cool to see. Hulkenberg could have ruined somebody's day because he got a bad start, and he could have like lost it or like not have kept it together.
That was my biggest surprise when I started up the race. I was like, all right, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, oh yeah, Hulkenberg.
Yeah,
right.
What are you doing there? You're not supposed to be there.
Yeah. No, but he's
and then like eventually he just fell all the way back.
Oh, he got passed like 3 or 4 times during the start. So
poor guy. But he got that place mostly because of grid penalties, right?
Of the other two guys. But he was still like, even with other grid penalties, he would have like, he did a good job, and he was like out of position still. Yeah. But too bad that the race. That's what I'm saying. Too bad that the race just didn't go his way.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, is what happens sometimes in the sport. Another, like, you know what I saw today, like during that race too. I saw a focused and pretty competent Kimi Räikkönen that perhaps we hadn't seen. Like,
I think he might actually be afraid for his seat now. And, especially we didn't talk about it. Fortunately, nobody brought it up, but I'm gonna mention it. I guess his wife wants a $500,000 wedding.
That's just how much it's gonna cost. She doesn't want it. Like, it's happening.
No, she does. Who do you think
well,
wants that?
Yeah, right. True. Yes.
Like, and it'll be like, bring me a vodka, and we'll say it's done, or whatever. Right? It's his wife. So now he's like, fuck.
That's true.
Luckily for him,
call Kimmy.
Yeah, lucky for him, Ricciardo is like, I'm not pushing for Ferrari yet. Perez is like, I will. Right? He doesn't want to lose his seat. He's got to pay for this fucking wedding.
Yeah, for sure.
Räikkönen third, right? Second.
No, third. Second was Verstappen.
Yeah, driver of the day. Later
full
host.
name, please.
Later host.
Oh yeah, sorry, 18-year-old Max Verstappen.
Can you pull up that picture?
This was so great.
Puma's killing it this year. It's awesome. Some cool suits. Yeah,
which one was
funny.
This? It's hang on a second. Let me highlight it. It's the Red Bull Lederhosen.
Yeah, the Red Bull sister team though didn't do too well. Like Q1,
yeah,
lost both cars. Engine failure and the crash.
Yeah,
it's funny.
This one, okay. Yeah. Oh, they are just so adorable.
Yeah,
amazing, right?
Look at that.
The socks. Look at the detail on those socks. They get the. Oh my god, amazing!
It's
so traditional.
It is pretty cool, and I guess they had to do something because it's their home race.
Yeah, the grid girls too.
Oh well, I mean,
they're all dressed up like what's it? I don't know. Like they're about to go picking dandelions in the mountains. They got like the 1800s.
Like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
They're Gretel. They were all very, very, very nice Gretels. Very nice.
Good on them.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they took a full out during the track parade. They were also wearing a rendition of the Lederhosen. Check out the second link there.
Oh, was it this guy right here?
Yeah. So, this is what they sent him on the track parade with.
That I didn't see.
Yeah, and the track parade they were actually wearing like leather pants. look at that. They both got this little ensemble, and I guess look at that. And we're there. Whereas everybody else was wearing like this must have been like a little chilly too, because look, even the Swede is wearing a jacket.
Very similar to the Canadian Grand Prix weather.
Yeah. So they must have been a little cold, but they had to commit to this little number.
Yeah, look at this kid though. He's wearing a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah, who's that kid? How did he get there? This was the first time they gave away the checkered flag waving privilege to a fan.
Yeah, that was cool. He didn't fuck it up either.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And who was that little kid? He won something for sure.
No, these were kids. I forgot like what kind of like association or how. There's a reason. All of the drivers were being walked in by kids.
Oh,
yeah. Until they got to this truck thing. But yeah, that's just come on. You can't take it seriously. But no, that got me thinking seriously because they only wear this like they don't have to wear their racing suits the entire time. Like they could, if they would have enough time to like change out of these.
Yeah, like Ericsson's in jeans.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't race in jeans.
Yeah,
he takes his pants off.
But there's some people there with like the full team gear, of course, because that's they just have to do that to like show the sponsors, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can. They got customs.
Yeah. But this is cool. Yeah, it's a welcome thing for F1.
Red Bull's always done this though. Red Bull since they came around. They used to, I guess they've gotten a little older. They don't blast the music anymore.
No, they still do. They still do, but not as much.
That was the thing before.
Yeah.
They started with that. They've always done cool shit.
Yeah, adding a little bit of a splash of color to the grid. It's fun. It's cool.
You can tell, especially Ricciardo is trying not to laugh over it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this guy for a minute.
Who?
Ricciardo.
Danny Rick? Okay, here, hang on.
Because he said...
I'll be right back. You guys good with beer?
No.
I could deal.
This is Danny Rick has said some stupid shit in the last few weeks, and I think he's been a little bit immature. Because remember in
Being
Canada,
a bit teen angsty sort of thing.
yeah. Except his birthday was on Friday too, and I think he's 27 or 28 years old now. His birthday was this weekend. There's a picture of him with a big cake or whatever, big team cake. Remember in Canada, like it was just on the cusp of signing his contract with Red Bull.
Right.
And he's like, oh, unless these guys can guarantee me I'm going to win, I'm not signing shit. Unless they can guarantee me a championship in the next 2 years, why would I stay here? Well, going on. And then...
Well, that was after like his 2 bad races, right? Not even bad races, but I think he got screwed over to some sort of degree.
Yeah, it was that pit stop. And that's another
right.
thing I wanted to mention. Ted, Ted from
Sky.
From Ted's Notebook, from Sky. He got invited by Dieter Mateschitz to go see the Red Bull hangar, which is near here at the nearby airport. Mm-hmm. And he has a whole bunch of badass classic Red Bull planes and helicopters and stuff they use for skydiving and Red Bull acrobatics. Red Bull's badass. And they did a little interview there with Max and with Danny Rick. And they asked him, like, are you over that yet? Like...
what I found? Some Austrian beer.
Some Stiegels. This can. It looks... I love the texture. But they asked him, are you over that yet? Are you feeling confident? You got some upgrades, close to the podium and all this. How do you feel about that? And he's like, oh, I feel like it's always going to hurt a little bit. That one pit stop. Come on, man.
Man, let it go.
This is part. See, I was trying to put myself in his shoes. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I've had a couple different jobs. I've been to like learn different things. I thought about a couple careers. I'm doing this. Like, I know how to cook a few meals and barbecue and like most people. But like these guys, I think all they do and think about and dream about and shit when they're on the toilet. They're doing racing.
Yeah,
they're
100%.
They're only doing racing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what else? Why else are you there? But just it sounded a bit babyish. That his tone and everything in his face. That he's like, oh, like I think it's gonna always hurt a little bit. Like it's died down. But he went to New York for a couple of days to get away from the team. And he mentioned that one day when he's old and he's showing his grandkids his trophies, he might look at that one and say, look at this silver trophy. It's for second place, but it could have been gold. But hopefully by then I'll have a couple of other gold ones that I can show them. Like, he went on and on. Like,
man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, no,
that was so...
I
just
actually
put me over.
I love Danny Rick. I really respect him as a driver. I think he's definitely going to be like around in F1 for a long time.
Well, that too. For sure,
he's a great driver. When he's on, and like his personality, like you couldn't ask for like a lot more from a racing driver. Oh, this thing. No, but you know what I mean. Like he's open to the media. He's like a cool, like he seems like he's very approachable from the fans' point of view. Like he's a cool dude. Like he goes out to rock concerts and whatever. Like you could stumble upon Danny Rick down in Austria. Yeah, if you had VIP tickets, but he, as of recently, he's said a couple things that like also pissed me off. Like one of the press conferences, I think it was that one that we were talking about within the last like 40 minutes.
This week, yeah, Thursday.
Yeah,
this one was 40 minutes. Yeah. That was awesome, by the way. Make them all 40 minutes.
Yeah.
For sure.
He was saying that, like I'm 27 or like I'm, and I look at
his birthday was Friday.
Yeah, he's like I'm 27 and I look at Seb, and by the time he was 27, he had already his 4 championships. Shut the fuck up! Like, what are you doing? Like what? Like that's like the first one of the first like life rules that they tell.
Life rules.
Yeah, you do not compare yourself. Like you can't live your entire life by somebody else's standards.
My nephew is 5 years old, and I tried to explain this to him a little bit yesterday. We were out on a little boat on the lake up north. Mm-hmm. And he's 5, right? So he's learning about losing, right? And he was like, I could always win at rock, paper, scissors. You can't win. And then like he gets beat in rock paper scissors, and he's like, all right, but if you lose, that means you won, because he's trying to change the rules. Like he's 5, but this guy is 26 or 7 now. Like you're supposed to have learned that. Like
yeah, you're supposed to have learned that.
This picture of him with the fucking latte inside his car. He's got a coffee, looking at telemetry. You can see through that piece of paper. He's got like a compiled graph of his quick laps there. He had someone bring him a coffee.
This is
no lid. Imagine he spilled that on
sessions, dude. Like,
imagine he spilled that on himself.
Yeah, that would be a silly move. But it's like, is that coffee or like tea with milk? I can't tell, but it's probably. What do they drink more in Australia? Do we know that though? Is Australia like a tea country or a coffee country?
I don't know.
You know how there's that divide.
They're British, but they're really close to Asia and South America.
You could say that like there's a strong British influence here, but we still like Canadians by far coffee.
Yeah,
Tim Hortons doesn't count.
I was just saying they're like halfway between or close to Asia, but Asia and South America, where all the coffee comes from, right? So I'm sure they get a lot of it imported. But it was something positive I can say about him. Still, this whole season has not been out qualified by either of his teammates.
That's true.
Yeah, he has not. The 2 angsty youngsters. He's trying to emulate them.
Yeah,
Australia get some of it from.
Australia is like tea slightly, like they prefer tea by about from 50 to 75%.
Where did you look this up? You just search Google and you just like, oh,
Google
is Australia
knows everything, man.
Tea country?
Yeah, come on, don't you know this by now?
Oh
Google knows everything.
if you could see all my Google searches of all time, it'd be like in the millions by now. Search a million things for sure.
Yeah.
But neither of his teammates, but yeah, maybe he's emulating these youngsters that he's been paired up with.
Mm-hmm.
And
what youngsters? Like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Max Verstappen and
Kvyat.
Yeah. He's what, 21, 22?
Yeah.
There's a big difference in I feel like when I hit 25, it's like a switch kind of went off, and I reached the slightly higher level of maturity. But it was noticeable. You notice it now that I'm like, I don't even want to say.
Just say
22.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think being 30 and you look at 25-year-olds and you're like, fuck, man, what else? They used to be like that. Or look at 20-year-olds and you're like, they used to be like that. But yeah, that definitely was.
How we just mentioned Daniel Kvyat's name and him being 22.
The 22-year-old Daniel Kvyat.
And I think that 22 is going to be his, hopefully he remembers and he cherishes these moments because it might be his last year in F1. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay. The worst thing that you can do when shit like hits you hard in life and whatever, when you get like a shitty situation, is let it get to you, and then because then you start spinning into like endless cycles of like crashing into metaphorical walls and hitting like bumps, or in his case
even more real
walls.
ones.
Yeah.
Probably more real than metaphorical.
And spinning off the track, and like it just he of all the things he could have done to try to like regain some trust with Red Bull, some to show even like another potential team out there that he's a worthwhile driver. That is not how you want it to be, and it's gonna be since he had got demoted, he's been showing like just poor judgment, and maybe he's just losing it, or maybe he's just worried. But even buddy, whatever you're doing, like it's just too bad that you had to learn this lesson this way. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, like I think
because the ramifications of it all,
like he's gonna have to win a race or something, or win a couple races, or be at least like be like fighting for a win before he's like looked at and win any kind of respect before his career is over for sure.
I think that every time that he's crashed in his F1 career so far, he's made like a heavy point that it's not his fault.
Oh yeah,
he's on that, like that's like really heavy. This wasn't my fault. These fucking baguettes, they shouldn't be there. And another point I just popped in my head.
Yeah.
This might have been the first race all season we didn't hear one bleep the whole weekend.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't watch all the practice, but I don't think so.
I don't think there was a bleep. I think you're right.
Did they get asked to stop swearing?
There might have been like a subtle hint, I'm sure.
I don't know, but last week I was pretty sure that somebody said, yeah, open the swear gates. Just start
swear gate.
The gate, not a swear gate, but a gate of swearing. Like open it up, let them out. Start cursing, fuck it, say fucks and shits all the time.
Yeah.
None.
It's always funny when there's beeps too.
There was a lot of the extra crashes too.
Hey, you know what?
Did your computer just die?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, you know what? We like. I don't know if anything that we mentioned here has had any, has had any bearing on drivers actually swearing or not. That was obviously it's what we do here, heavily speculative.
I think one of the side effects
shit, but
of downforce is grandiose statements.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but no, but let me give you a grandiose statement right now, because and come at me, whoever, really, I challenge you to come at me. But another thing that we talked about, other than downforce, for the first time when it was just a couple of podcasts ago, when it was just you and me, Mike, is that we were talking about ways to remedy this whole situation with the radio bans, and again, it became a thing. Like if Martin Brundle was complaining about it again or whatever.
Yeah.
During the pre-show,
he was away for 2 weeks. He must have been steaming up inside. Yeah. He was gonna explode being away 2 weeks.
I think, and again, come at me, anybody out there, and prove me wrong.
Look right at the camera.
But we came up with an idea that then Johnny Herbert brought up in the pre-show.
Oh no! Drivers talking to each other?
To get one joker.
The Joker, yeah, I wrote that down, man.
No, we did that. We talked about that.
Yeah, I wrote.
We had a world exclusive, and we didn't even know it, Mike.
That's one of my top notes for this week.
Not
one of my top. Yeah, Joker, and I think it's brilliant.
It is we
heard it on TV now.
We
Sky Television.
We mentioned it here. You heard it here first, fellas. No, seriously, and I think that's a great idea.
Fever exclusive.
Yeah.
And call them up.
Yeah, no.
Call up.
If you don't believe me, go back to podcasts, listen to it. At one point, we do mention this that would be a great solution.
Yeah.
Have the ban the way it is, but give the drivers one joker.
One question. Yeah.
One. They can activate at one point during the race, and Lewis could be like, "All right, guys, I'm applying for my joker now. Tell me what I should do with this engine mode." And if he misused his joker too early or before he had a real problem, then he's good, and it's up to him, and it's his own strategy, and you bring the power back to the driver.
Yeah,
and
that's brilliant.
The power is in the driver, because the commentators who had spoken to Mercedes and Mercedes themselves were adamant that Rosberg and Hamilton had the same problem in Baku, and Rosberg was able to fix it, and Hamilton was not. And Anthony Davidson, who was back this weekend as well in Austria, not at all the races. I actually really like his. He's gotten
better. Honestly, he's gotten a lot better. I think I didn't.
He's got that sky pad down. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to make that effective.
The sky pad is Ant's bitch.
Actually, something that he mentioned involving ants was just because he said that. When Rosberg smashed up his car in FP3, it gives you 1 to 2 hours between then and practice to get it fixed, depending when you crash. Mentioned that.
Yeah.
They sent over some of Hamilton's mechanics to Rosberg's side to help him.
That's pretty cool, actually.
And that they were saying he's working like a bunch of ants there. Every mechanic knows his role, and he knows everybody else's role. They each do their part, and the amount of time they have is irrelevant. They just get it done. You get the car fixed. But yeah, he was rocking that, and he said so when he joined the WEC team this year to race endurance. And
he's been racing endurance for a little bit.
Yeah, but I guess he mentioned that this year for his car that he's driving, you get given when you get there at least a 10-page document.
Oh, for the
steering wheel alone, and the F1 they might be a little thicker. So I guess he hasn't seen one in a bit.
This would have been the same document. Remember that and Anthony said that even the WC one is it's tricky to read, and you have to kind of memorize those 10 pages to know what so if the F1 one is more complicated, this is the document that they sent overnight while he was on the plane to Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yeah.
Remember, at the beginning of the year that he like had it. He memorized it. He went and did it like in a handful of hours.
He beat the man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He beat the man whose seat he was taking.
Yeah.
He showed him. And you have to memorize it. And I guess Hamilton's has been off partying too much, perhaps, that he couldn't figure it out. That you got your HPP, which is your like multi-setting. Okay. There's 12 steps on there.
No.
And then
or on it, yes.
The HPP knob, you got
there's 11 or whatever, but
there's 12 with 12 submenus in each, something like that.
As Kimi Räikkönen would say.
I don't know if you got this number from one specific team, or if it's an average, or if it's the limit that's specified. I didn't get a chance to look this up, but what Anthony Davidson said is that this F1 steering wheel engine modes have reached the number 508.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There are 508 different settings, or perhaps that's maybe just Lewis's car. He didn't specify, so I'm being vague. 508. And some of them you use for shorter tracks, some you use for longer tracks, some you use for a grippy surface, some you use when it's raining, some you use for a slippery surface, some you use if you got fresh tires, some you use if you got used tires. There's probably one for each compound. It's ridiculous. It's crazy, right?
It's awesome. I mean,
it's awesome.
It's awesomely complicated, but it's awesome that like the kind of stuff. I don't know. It's a nuance of today's F1, and a lot of drivers, including Esteban Gutierrez, is of the view that like there should only be like that you only need 3 things, like 2 pedals and a steering wheel. That's what he said.
I kind of like that idea too. To be honest, I could honestly both are their own thing.
They're different challenges in their own right, for sure.
Right after Anthony said that, though, like after that SkyPad segment, they cut back to Johnny Herbert and Brundle talking, and they were both kind of reminisced for a second, like back when we were racing, there was a drink button, pit limiter, and radio. You had three buttons, and it was like more physical.
Yeah.
Brundle's thing was there was no safety then, and your main job, aside from outside of buttons, was just to make sure the car didn't kill you, because that's what I was trying to do the whole time. It's just a different type of racing. But there's 508.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Each one of those is a different spark timing, different amount of fuel, different amount of air, different amount of torque, different transmission,
million things that we just don't know.
Yeah,
and we can't know. There's unless you're an engineer that was working.
Yeah, if you sit there with your eyes closed, you meditate on it. Outside of being an engineer, you're not going to come up with something that you're like, whoa, that exists, and they've been using it for years. When you come up with ideas, it's cool. But I kind of like the Joker. Like, if they brought that in next year, I wouldn't be opposed.
What?
The Joker idea.
Of you get one radio pass.
Joker pass for the race that you get a one help, or even for the weekends. Call it for the weekend. You're probably gonna that'll be like as a talking point. Even if you use it in qualifying to get your spot, hopefully you don't have fuck up in the race.
Even cut it down that much, because but
nobody asked him and he didn't mention
that will. There's a lot of like amendments to rules that actually end up changing the spirit of the rule altogether, and I think that this would successfully stay within what you want to accomplish.
This weekend there's a handful of things that came up that could and might and should be new rules, like the reversing on the grid.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? If they didn't even know that there's actually, like, how is there not a rule? The officials, they're like, how is there no rule for a reversing on the grid? And if he hadn't reversed, he would have got a penalty.
In all honesty,
the Joker could and should be a rule. I think I like it.
In all honesty,
the
like
Baguettes.
the Baguettes for sure, they should be everywhere.
That's
like,
at least 3.
Cursing as needed.
Enforce the cursing. You have to use 5 swears per race.
Now we're getting
5 bad words.
A bit loony.
5 bad words. You count them off. You still got two lights flashing on your dash. I gotta swear.
But I think though that obviously, I guess what we're waiting to talk about, and what a lot of people what the main talking point, of course, has been. Is
just before I got one more rule thing.
Okay.
Because I know what you're about to bring up.
Okay.
One more, because in Baku, Raikkonen got a big penalty for coming down the main straight, taking a drag, taking a draft off the back of a car, and crossing the pit line. And something interesting about here, and Brazil is being changed in the last 1 or 2 years. They changed it a bit, but you must, to be on the racing line or whatever, at Austria, you must cross the pit entry line.
Oh yeah, this thing.
Per lap, every lap.
Right. It's something like that. I heard about this anyway.
You saw it every lap, 70 laps times 22 cars, man. Every single lap, the racing line on the final corner at the Red Bull Ring, you cross the pit entry line. And if somebody is pitting, somebody decides to pit, they're decelerating quicker than you, and it fucks up your lap if somebody pits in front of you because you passed that line. And everybody did it on every single lap. But I think, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, because I didn't have enough time to go through 21 circuits and check, but the racing line does not cross in any other circuit the pit entry line, except here. And nobody got a penalty, and there was, think about it, Silverstone maybe, but I don't think so. And Brazil did always used to.
I was gonna say, like, there's something about that reminds me of Brazil.
Brazil is like a 20-second left corner. Like you're on full throttle going left for like 20 seconds. The final corner is just a huge, like very, 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 like if that was a circle, it'd be like a kilometer in diameter. I mean, it's a very wide corner. I think you don't anymore, but you did always cross it. There used to be a concrete wall that you come right up on. You do in Hungary, come up on a concrete wall, but you race outside the pit entry line. I can't think of any others though.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting because it was a big affected the race in Baku that he got that penalty because he drafted off someone over the pit line.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd change that. You'd have to repave or reprofile Austria.
Well, they already just did that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, maybe they should keep construction going past the deadline. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely interesting.
The one, come on, like.
Yeah, no, it's
sure
it poses its own challenge.
Maybe give him some juice. That's how he finished so high.
Yeah.
And his wife, greedy ass wife. That's a crazy wedding, man. Come on.
Yeah.
$500,000.
They're baller, man. They're baller.
Yeah. For sure. But.
Right. Obviously, like, sorry, were you about to?
I was just gonna go to the washroom.
Cool. All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Have a good pee, man.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
The grand finale of Austria.
Oh no! We still got more. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring something small before we get to like the incident.
What everyone's waiting for.
Yeah. I found Jensen's performance very telling. And like if we wanna take this is gonna be like a bit of a tangent, but maybe I should have saved this for later. But anyway, whatever.
No, I got something to addend to this with.
Jensen's performance, it was pretty telling of the challenges that they're facing, because this is probably what Yasuhiko Hasegawa, Mr. Honda F1, the replacement of Arai,
Mr. Arai, the ousted leader,
Mr. Hasegawa-san, maybe this is what they've been saying, that under a race situation, it could be possible for them to fight and to keep some position, to keep the fight with some of the top teams, right? Because this is what happened. But it may just be that their whole problem is that their engine is not allowing their car to be really, really fast over one lap. Now, Jensen had no problem staying up there and battling it up there, because he started from that high position. Now that high position was obviously, it came like through like his own effort for sure. He was like, let's not take anything away from his qualifying lap, but
you can't see him doing a big nod.
Yeah,
in agreement.
Yeah, but he ended up like so many, like, a few steps higher than, or he started up a few stops higher than he should have, or than he would have.
The penalty deluge.
Due to those penalties, he gained 2 positions, and then it was great for him because then he all he had to do was to be fast enough and to plan the deployment and how he was gonna harvest his energy, and then he was battling it out with some big names out there that you wouldn't have thought that you'd find the McLaren up there. And this kind of reminded me in a way of like, because we've been talking about how these cars now they're not really designed. They can, I mean, the way that the rules are, they're not really designed for overtaking. They require like a certain amount of like clean air in front and whatever for them to like extract the maximum potential.
I think really some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them. I think the McLaren, they probably have theirs designed for maximum overtaking potential.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they know where they are. They can't be unrealistic about that.
Exactly.
But it's crucial that the car is a good qualifier car as well. Mm-hmm. And that's I guess like the balance that
they've both been either just there, like so marginal on being the top 10 the last couple weeks. Yeah. So like the last 3-4 races, they stepped up, right?
Yeah, and
noticeably.
If that thing with Alonso hadn't happened with the tires like accidentally being like that much older, who knows what could have happened anyway during the race itself.
Yeah.
But
he retired. He didn't finish too.
Right. No. Yeah, I know.
That was suspected that they did that on purpose to save even just that little bit of the engine.
Course.
Because
of course,
like most teams, I think now are like marginally to use that word again on the edge of their second engine.
Right.
Or like Lewis is on number 4 or 5, but they're on the edge of their second engine, and if they can push one more, then at the end of the season they can give extra beans if they can get one less race distance on those same engine, which a lot of teams we talked about are trying to do that push at the start of the season before the aero is perfect.
You're gonna need a nice good engine for Austin. You're gonna need a nice good engine for Brazil.
And even just if you think your development might not get there, whatever, just the last couple races, if you can give it some push, save it for the end of the season, surprise some of your competitors. Could be that's what they're doing. But apparently they must prove, this is what Brundle said on the commentary, they must prove that there was a reason for them to retire. You can't, there's a rule for that. You can't just retire and say like, we're just saving our engine.
No, but the reason could be we decided to retire him because we noticed that the engine was doing this or that.
If anything went 5% over what it should be, they can be like,
we had it.
Obviously.
Yeah. This could have killed the guy. But I just want to like thinking more and more about this. Remember when we talked to Tatiana Calderon and about this was back when she was racing Euro F3, and Euro F3 is like a category that I find very interesting because it has a lot to do, like they race in a few like high profile tracks, like decent tracks. They were there in Austria. They race in the Hockenheim Ring. They race in Spa. Anyway, and they put like the series itself, the way that it works, because there's so many cars that can take a chance, and they're not as fast as F1 cars, but they still like have to complete the laps. And their qualifying session is only 20 minutes, and it's like an all shootout, like, you know, whoever gets. It puts a lot of emphasis, and the people that like triumph in F3, like you can say that they're probably like they may not have like their full racecraft completely down, and the overtaking, they might not necessarily be the best overtakers, but if a guy is like winning consistently or a girl is winning consistently in the European F3, you can pretty much like say that like they're probably really good qualifiers.
Right.
And maybe that's the kind of skill set that Red Bull knew that they were looking for when they plucked Max Verstappen out of Euro F3. And
that's what Vettel came from.
And you know who else, like
he always went out last and nailed it.
You know who's now like causing like, you know, a bit of a fury in Euro F3? Lance Stroll.
Hey, our boy.
Yeah. So like maybe it is like
he's a qualifier. He's leading 70 points in the championship.
Yeah, or 80 now, like 80 something actually. Actually, like,
who
knows? I didn't check the results for Spielberg, but
somewhere around there though. Going into the 4th and 5th race now. 4th weekend, 5th weekend.
Yeah, no, I think this they're like getting into the last bit of the season. There's not that many more races, but either way, and it kind of makes sense that right now the way that F1 works, you need somebody that's going to be a very strong qualifier, because clearly once you get your car up there in that top position, something else happens during the race. Then during the race, as long as you got your tire management down, and as long as you can kind of maintain, and with obviously coupled with a good strategy from the pit lane, you can have, like, we're in a position right now where you can have cars that are out of position and the race there. It's what happened with Perez before. It's been happening, and it's been one of the things that's turned like this year upside down in terms of excitement. Really, I mean, it's put people that are out of position have been able to hold on, or at least cause a splash around them up there, as long as they do well enough in qualifying, which is cool to see. I mean, and you kind of do wonder, because you don't get any points for qualifying. You just your reward is the position, and you could have said in the past that not always. Like qualifying didn't always matter as much as it does now.
Right, but people remember it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, people remember, and you're actually like rewarding in a way the quick guys.
Yeah.
Like and that's what you wanna see top talent. You want to see the fastest drivers out there,
right,
battling it out up front.
Right.
And this format, whatever, for better or for worse, is giving some people the opportunity, a few opportunities here and there to shine. I think that's great, and I think maybe that's why we love F1 not so much these days.
Do you remember how they tried to change qualifying this year?
Oh my god!
See, it seems like that was the dream. Like it almost didn't happen.
I thought that was like 3 or 4 seasons ago.
Yeah, right.
I know, like, Australia is the season opener. It's become that, like, that's its thing type of thing. But the last 2 years, it's been retarded results. Like, the qualifying this year was ridiculous. Everyone hated it, and they got rid of it. And last year, most of the cars didn't finish. It's like the last couple of years, it's been crazy. They ran it too far into the fall, and the whole track was full of leaves.
Speaking of battling, one thing I noticed, and I didn't know this before, but like I can't remember. I think it was
the weaving.
What's that?
The defending.
The defending thing. Yeah, something I didn't know, and I thought I was like, oh my god, you can only sort of defend once. I guess that's the idea. It's like you can only make one change of direction. Is that how new is that, or is that always?
Let me tell you, Daddy, take it away.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. No, this is like sort of like one of the main rules that has been around for a long time.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't like it's we're not talking like as far back as the Senna days or any further than that, but in this most modern iteration, at least since it's 2000 or whatever, like they introduced that rule, and it's successful, and it's still. We don't even think about it as much, like so much so that I guess we haven't brought it up that much before. But yes, it is a crucial rule of modern F1. When defending your position, you're only allowed to do like one defending maneuver,
right?
Which is like like this, and you have to like carry it on through up until the point where the only other thing that you can do to like sort of like after that is then go back to the racing line in terms of movement, like in terms of swerving.
Okay. But the rule isn't that you have to swerve slow.
No.
It's kind
No.
It's kind of
one move.
That's
like in one direction.
The most efficient way to make that one move.
Yeah,
is
true.
You try to like pull your challenger off the track. You go slowly. Because if you give a jerk, that's your one movement, and there might still be room, or he'll go the other side.
Right.
Okay. It's not the rule that you have to go slow, but
no.
But that's the way to do it. Right?
Yeah, that's the way to do it, and that's
okay.
When they introduced
it,
when they introduced this rule,
otherwise it's a puff of smoke.
They were trying to like with it promote a little bit more overtaking,
right?
But the thing about it is that it's not like promoting overtaking in a way that's
dangerous,
artificial, or dangerous. Some people call the DRS too artificial. So in and of itself, it's a simple and elegant rule that promotes overtaking, but it also promotes
strategy.
The good, very talented way to defend. And really, if you a lot of people praise for Fernando Alonso's defending skills.
A lot of people attack his attacking skills because there is no rule about the attack.
Right.
You can swerve all over the place and fucking run over the back
when
tires.
You're attacking.
Remember Australia? That disaster that Alonso put himself into.
Yeah.
There are no attacking rules.
But when you're defending, but if you're a thinking driver, and if you're a driver that that drives beautifully, in some people call it, oh, what a beautiful move, you'd be able to you can do that. You can successfully defend your position with just that one move, and then return to the racing line.
Right. Okay.
So it's not that's exactly what Kevin Magnussen wasn't doing.
Right. I noticed that.
Yeah, he was doing that in a, I don't know what.
Who was he defending from?
I forget.
Was it like a Haas or something?
Yeah,
like that?
it was like a lower team anyway. I mean, these guys are fighting
But I also remember in that instance, it was very, very close. I was like, wow, they're incredibly close to each other. So I didn't understand exactly what was going on, but it was still kind of frightening to watch.
It kept coming in my mind when I watched this race, because I watched it this morning. I had to watch it this morning because I was out camping and cottaging and Canada Daying it up this weekend. But it's I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
God damn it. Sorry. What happened?
Yeah. Anyway, we're
live. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we're live.
This is live.
It doesn't happen too often.
But yeah, no, it's. I think it's a good rule, and I think it's there for a reason. And
I like it. Yeah, I like it right away. I love that mechanic.
Yeah.
If this was a video game, I would have been like, "Ooh, that's good. Yeah, that's great."
Yeah, one defense. It's good.
It works. It does what it's supposed to do.
It works until your brakes fail. Right.
Right. Yeah. Let's move right on to the juicy bits.
We've had our
red eye Rosberg.
Vegetables.
You just finished watching the race.
I did this morning. I fell asleep last night.
So did I. I told you I watched it all this morning.
Yeah.
I fell asleep at the grid formation last night. I was around. I watched the whole pre-show and qualifying, pre and post. So I was like, I'm gonna stay awake. I was so tired from the weekend. I fell asleep at the grid formation, and then I woke up an hour and a half later, and it was on lap 40 something, and I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? I was just scrambling for my remote to turn off the TV. I got it off, and I rewatched the whole thing. I woke up at 8:30.
Yeah.
Jumped out of bed, and before my eyes were open, the race started. Oh, God. That's how I watched it. But.
So you still have that last lap fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Less than 6 hours ago.
You practically ruined it for me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, you didn't.
15 minutes before I left to come here, I finished the race.
So,
I jumped up, man. I was in bed watching that. I jumped up. I was like, I gotta get dressed now. But jumped out. I was still in my blankets at that point. Yeah. I jumped up. I was like, oh my God. I wish I was at Betty's.
the
screaming.
that would have been sweet to watch.
Blowing the roof off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see Toto Wolff. They gave a slow motion replay of him punching. He didn't hit it with his fist. He punched the table.
Yeah.
He hit it with his knuckles.
It was great.
He was
what
mad.
What a good moment. Didn't we say?
What an asshole.
I'm
calling him Red Eye Rosberg from now on.
No, but
fucking pirate asshole.
Didn't we say that? Wouldn't it be great if the Mercedes just keep taking each other out?
Oh,
yeah. And it's true, man. Actually, I was reading just a bit. I didn't get to read all of it, but Michael Schmidt's blog for this week, he basically mentioned something like that. Hey, listen, as much as you might not like it, and as much as we like to see, or some people might justify bringing in team orders after this, that's. This is what look at how many headlines has it generated already. Yeah. This is what you want. This is what we want. This is what everybody wants to see. Don't be ridiculous. Yes,
for the Constructors' Championship, there's no reason
Yeah.
for them to change the rules. for the Drivers' Championship, there's no reason yet. They're both ahead by tens and dozens of points over third and fourth and fifth place. Actually, Vettel and Raikkonen, because people have been, we already talked about this earlier today, criticizing Raikkonen for his skills. Is he going to be around next year? Is Ricciardo going to take his seat? Is Perez going to take his seat? Him and Vettel both have the same amount of points right now.
Yeah.
They both have the same amount of points.
Exactly the same, yeah.
And they both have 3 didn't finish or didn't start.
Yeah.
They both didn't finish 3 races this year, and they both have the same amount of points. So, who's the better driver?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, yeah, it's...
Who's got the most expensive wedding?
So what exactly happened in that last lap?
Here.
Everything.
Let's go back to it.
So exciting.
No, here's the thing though. Let me put one thing out there, because the results from the stewards inquiry has come out, like out of that incident.
Rosberg is an asshole.
Yeah, Rosberg. It was as far as where is it that I read? How is it that I read? The people that know these things have declared it that it was Rosberg.
Right.
For the people that don't
you
know,
honestly don't know. Like, don't know what kind of reasoning they have and like what kind of access to like at different angles.
We do. We do.
But you know what
you
the
didn't
stewards.
watch the post race, right?
Yeah, but you don't know what the
Anthony
stewards.
Davidson showed us 3-4 angles.
No, I know, but
3-4 times.
You don't know what the stewards have and like what they were looking at when they made the decision.
Extra. We saw everything for sure, man. Go back.
Yeah, but you don't know. Honestly, you don't know what actually like made them deliberate one way or another.
Yeah, I've driven that circuit in video games, man. You can watch it.
That was plain as day. Like it was
plain as day.
It was Rosberg, and he got a 10-second penalty, which in the end didn't affect his standing in the championship. But
it confirmed his standing as an asshole. Listen, my blood is half German, half British. I'm unbiased in the situation.
I don't think that's how that works, but
it is.
I'll go with it.
It is. It is a little bit.
Look, I'm 100% German.
I'm 100% German. You get both sides, right?
I'm not British, but as much as like I love Vettel, I think he's awesome. I think he's a fun guy. He's also German.
Yeah.
I hate Nico Rosberg, and I don't even know why. Okay. I don't even know why.
Red Eye Rosberg.
But he's not really like fully German anyway.
No. But he has the audacity to race under half of my flag, crashing out Lewis Hamilton willy-nilly.
So, okay, was it that he didn't give Lewis Hamilton enough room?
Right, yeah.
He didn't follow the race line.
He was nowhere near the race line. He was on the inside. He should have clipped that apex like the other 70 times in a row that he drove around there.
Yeah, because you saw I saw a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that where the line was based on all the other marks from the tires from other cars, including himself probably. Yeah. That's where the line was, and he just didn't give him the room.
In that post,
in order to defend, right? Like he was trying to defend a spot, right?
He was being very aggressive, and now some people have pointed.
But
some people have pointed at the previous incidents where Nick or when Lewis kind of did something similar to him. Right. I think the examples people think of are the U.S. Grand Prix last year and the Canadian Grand Prix this year. When like basically he got thrown over.
Please,
but it
was kind of the same thing.
Nico's hit me. Yeah, even then it was like I think Lewis's moves as much as he ran Rosberg off the track or like didn't leave him too many choices. It wasn't like a purposeful, like this was clearly like purposeful. And as much as if Rosberg like tries to like come out and say like, no, I'm actually the good guy here. Like, did you know that he's already done that? He's like, oh no, Lewis was the one that turned to me. No, he didn't. Like it's come on, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
Like
this is a tweet by him. It's a F1 on Twitter. Rosberg's tweet was, this is a quote: "Lewis turned in and caused the collision. Period. I'm gutted. Hashtag Austrian Grand Prix, hashtag F1. So if you look at this picture here, somebody took a clip of the two onboards. Mm-hmm. The top is Lewis Hamilton. The bottom is the turquoise evil gloves, Red Eye Rosberg.
Jesus.
You can see it in the top photograph of Lewis's hands. All the way on the right, underneath his mirror, you can just see
Rosberg's
front wing of Rosberg's car.
Yeah.
Just under. It's all the way to the right at the edge of that. Move them out. Yeah, see that right on the that little gray spot? This is about a millisecond, one frame before they collided. Rosberg's on the inside. His hands should be turning the wheel more than Hamilton.
Right.
He's on the tighter radius. He's on the inside of the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that,
he's not doing it.
Not only that, like
you can see the shadow.
This makes it clear. Like it's very clear here that what Lewis said is right. The corner was his. Like he was
That's
ahead.
the shadow of Hamilton's car right there too.
Yeah. He's
You can
of
see
the
them,
tire. Yeah.
You can see each of them in each picture.
Yeah. No, but
Rosberg's
but look, yeah, it's easy to see that even if it was by just like a tire's width, like he was ahead, and so that means that the corner was his before. It was his corner.
He was ahead and he left the space.
Yeah.
Always you must leave the space.
Yeah. So he did. Lewis was fair here in this situation, and that's why he didn't get called into the stewards. Even though very very fractionally, this was actually done under yellow. When he broke,
passed him milliseconds before that yellow flag popped up.
Yeah, so
which is from
Nico Rosberg,
Perez, right?
Yeah,
he crashed right at the last lap.
Yeah, so Rosberg came here like after he did his stupid move. He basically ate his front wing, and then the yellows started waving.
The yellow was for Perez.
For Perez up ahead.
Right.
Oh, really?
For Perez up ahead.
Perez, went off in the dust.
Right, I saw that. Okay, yeah.
But even though and I think even the Sky commentators were a bit confused at first because the electric flag at the that display that flashes yellow, it was way up there, and it's when it's the yellow flag zone starts when you see the flag.
Right.
There was an actual person waving a flag before Rosberg, when Lewis overtook Rosberg. After Rosberg had the crash. Now it's fine, and the stewards didn't even consider looking into that because the fact that Rosberg was driving around in the conditions that he was,
right? Because there's a rule on that. Too,
yeah,
right?
you should stop.
The Sky Boys were talking about that.
He was lucky it was the final lap because he would have got if he went past the checkered flag with that wing like that, black flag for sure.
Right.
Black flag, pull off, and
wait, there's a black flag?
Yeah, it's like. Get the fuck
black
out.
flag is a disqualification.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Black flag is a disqualification, which could mean mechanical reason or conduct reason.
Well,
or
there's another black flag with an orange dot that basically tells you yo, go into the pits now. You have something fucked.
Yeah.
Right. Which
but
you almost never see, and you probably see that even less than the black flag.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, if it wasn't the last lap, he would have been black flag for sure. Or
no,
I'm sure
the team probably would have called him in, or the team would have been told him to
get my wings fucked.
Say it was on the second last lap instead. Okay, this is more of a hypothetical question.
0 points for Rosberg.
So what would have happened?
Not necessarily, because after you go over a certain percentage of the race in the points, so he would have. Yeah.
So say his front wing was all jangled, right? And they're like, okay, black flag or black with the dot,
or he got called into the pits by the team.
Okay. Right. So he would have to
make it
into the pits.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or
pull over, or they could have told him yo, pull over, stop the car.
But if he's pulled over on the side, is he done?
No. Because there's a rule that says that as long as if you've completed over a certain amount of the race, and he would have qualified for that.
You can't remember the percentage, eh?
It's 90 something. Yeah, higher than 95% or something. Or
too hard to look. Let's find it for next week.
Yeah, we'll find it for next week. We'll figure out exactly what the number is. But once you've gone over a certain percentage in the 90s, mid to high 90s, but he would have satisfied that.
Okay.
Then you still classify. So and that is actually the reason why I think it was Perez or somebody else retired also at the last lap, but he still classified seventh, whoever it was. It would have still counted. He probably would have classified second because Lewis would have legitimately won.
Those last few laps though, man,
they were really insane.
Rosberg coming up on traffic, he pushed Hamilton to his limit because he would. Yeah, that's probably how.
Well, Rosberg was having suspension problems.
His brakes. He had the brake-by-wire system failed, so I guess his hydraulic, the back brakes were still working, but he didn't have the front brakes, and it seemed like maybe he broke it in those last 1 or 2 laps because he was pushing hard, and he got the handful of cars he lapped Ericsson, Massa, like, and one or two other cars right at the end in those last 2 or 3 laps, and just he beat them all easier than Lewis was able to. And also there was a radio message where Lewis was like, "Well, you gave Rosberg softer tires than me," because you can see here.
Yeah, I remember that.
They both pitted in the last dozen laps or so.
Yeah.
Rosberg got the super softs. Hamilton only got the soft yellows, but his were 12 laps newer apparently. Or was that before?
Something like
I might have confused that. But anyway, he got the softer tires, and they played that radio message.
Yeah.
Lewis was pissed. He managed to beat him, but Rosberg out-lapped those 3-4 cars better than Hamilton.
Yeah.
And so something else I thought, though, related to this was the Sky Boys.
The Sky Boys.
They kind of bitched out at the end. They were a bit soft, talking to Toto Wolff and Niki Lauda. They were like, it seemed like Rosberg turned into Hamilton. Like, what do you think about that? Did you see it? Did you see the replay yet? What do you think? And they kept saying, no, Rosberg had front brakes failure, brake by wire. His probably wasn't his fault. Niki Lauda admitted it when Ted pushed him twice.
Yeah.
Niki Lauda admitted it. He's like, no, okay. He's like, on the third corner, Rosberg, it was his fault. He admitted it. But they tried to say it. Toto Wolff was trying to say that, we got to look at it. They obviously.
Rightfully so. Like as like sort of like a team principal
you would
guy.
want
Like,
to look at it. Yeah.
It's like, hold on, guys. Like we can't. If I say something wrong. Yeah. And I actually haven't looked at any of the footage, and I doubt they have because so much shit is going on.
Right.
Yeah. It's like when the cops catch you red-handed, you don't rat yourself out still.
Yeah.
Right? Because they might screw up the paperwork.
You got me.
Yeah, they might screw up the paperwork or something, and you get off. So you don't rat yourself out.
Yeah,
so
it's not quite the same, but it's very similar.
Very similar, because you don't want penalties and whatnot. So if you say, we're looking into this, we're not sure if Rosberg was, turning into him.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't work because he got a 10-second penalty. But, I don't know. It's interesting. I loved it. Rosberg's a little bitch. Hamilton is back on form.
Rosberg was pretty up. Like I saw him like doing a lot of like as he's like getting out of his car and getting weighed and shit like that. He's like, no.
A Goodwood this weekend though was a different Rosberg. He was super chipper. He's like, I'm fucking leading this championship. People were cheering for him. He got to drive up the hill in a Mercedes car. Hey, they gave him a birthday present and let him drive his dad's Formula One championship winning car for his birthday. Yeah. That was at Hockenheim though, not at the Goodwood, right? He's in the rain, unfortunately for him, but that was fucking cool.
It's
so some ups and downs for the old Red Eye, but
it makes it so hard to.
I know, man.
It's so hard to like even like.
He's trying so hard to ingratiate us. He's doing all these. If anyone hasn't seen, check out Rosberg's YouTube page. I know we watched a lot. He does a triple language live video of himself. Selfie video of himself every week about how amazing he is.
Yeah, it's all live. It's edited for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, afterwards he edits it, but he tries to record it live. Anyways, he like we're doing now, but we don't edit ours. But he's always like standing on a tarmac of an airport. He's inside his fucking private jet. He's at the hotel with like expensive shit behind him, speaking 3 languages. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, man.
Yeah. For sure.
He'll be around next year, though.
Yeah, I think so. It. I think he hasn't have, or at least like they haven't come out with a confirmation that his contract has been renewed. So
they have not.
Now this kind of incident,
it will be.
It's unlikely that like something like this will completely like turn that upside down because even like a difficult driver in hand is like better than a potential new one, right? Like it could. They're not going to get rid of him that easily, and he can be a team player. But
Hamilton, he's turned his appeal around, I think. I think it makes it easier and easier to like him. I've been cheering since he began. He's, like I've said before, he's British, my same age. He's a fucking world champion. He's pretty cool, I used to complain when he's crying all the time.
Yeah, because we used
I don't like to cry too much. But he's doing it, man. He's pulling his socks up this season. He's done it, man. Hammer time, though.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we've been hearing this phrase, hammer time.
Remember in Canada, there was a group of like 20 people that said like hashtag hammer time with all the big one-lettered turquoise shirts. Right? We saw a couple of them with the stupid wigs on, clown wigs.
Yeah. Hammer time, and
Should we do this together? The Brundle quote.
Well, I think that it's maybe a term that's been thrown around very loosely, a bit too much recently in Formula One. And as always, Martin Brundle has the insight of what exactly does hammer time mean?
Either he came up with that on his 2 weeks off and he was saving it, or he came up with
Definitely
it
saving it
on the spot. And it was brilliant. Either way, Brundle's one of my favorite commentators in any sport. Hammer time means you nail it on the out lap, you nail it on the pit stop, and you nail it on the in lap.
No, that's
the other way around.
Yeah.
But you nail it. That's what hammer time means.
Yeah, you nail it on the in lap, you nail it on the pit stop, and you nail
it on the out lap. So and then you nail it when your teammate goes red eyes and tries to fuck you and fucks himself.
I think it's a bit of a narrow definition, because I think
sure,
really, I mean it shouldn't, but it's a good start, Brundle. That's what hammer time means. All right, cool. You nail it in lap, pit stop, out lap. They're saying that because this was when Lewis had a bit of a poor pit stop, where the rear left or something, or rear right.
Yeah, one of the tires got stuck or something. It sparked up. A couple sparks though. That was really cool.
Yeah. But it's cool that he felt like he needed to phrase it like that. Yeah. Hammer time means. I do have a complaint about not specifically just Brundle, and Brundle is. I agree with you. He's one of my favorite commentators of of sport in general. But these guys, they really they weren't even being shy. In between him and Ted and a few of the other Sky Boys, come on, it was Lewis Hamilton suck up too fast. The most of the commentary, during practice, the bit of practice that I was watching, they just couldn't help themselves but be so obviously biased. It was almost hard to watch, anything happened to Lewis and it was immediately let's investigate why this might be anything, man. And as soon as the pit stop thing, his whole the Mercedes pit stop that could have ruined his race or whatever. They were surely Mercedes, they have to call this out. They have to get Rosberg to give a position or whatever, give back the position. That was, come on, your bias is showing, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I noticed it when I saw it. I was
right.
Guys,
it was almost too much. I watched the Sky F1 because they do have the best coverage by far.
And you cannot, even if you wanted to, get the Channel 4 coverage.
Yeah, true.
I've tried. I want to see some. I want to see at least one thing what they do. Nobody's posting that online.
Yeah, no, I guess
it's not there. But I don't know. Anyway, whatever type of fan you are, I think we have to either apologize or thank ourselves that you're welcome for this 2 hours that we spent on the Austrian Grand Prix. What was fucking awesome race.
It's true. Yeah.
And I think we got about 15 minutes of other stuff. I guess we'll be back with.
Yeah.
There's a few other little ideas here and there. Next week is the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that when we come back.
The show's not over, but we'll be back for a few minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna just go.
I gotta pee my
for
pants.
A couple minutes,
I'm gonna pee my
we'll
pants. I gotta pee my pants.
We'll be back, guys.
Be right back with a little bit of